How's it going again? Hello everyone, welcome back to the Brian Tech channel. And just yesterday, Apple announced a few new products at their Apple event for September, and I just want to sit down and just talk about it. Now, this event I felt like was very Apple Watch focused, mainly because they released a whole new Apple Watch product, which we'll get to in just a second. But first, I just want to talk about the Apple Watch Series 8 and what it has to bring to the table. So overall, it's a pretty minor update. It just has a few incremental updates, improvements, that kind of thing. So it has a new temperature sensor that can track ovulation cycles now for women out there who really need that, which is awesome, of course, because I know tracking that kind of stuff is a little bit tricky, but anything that can make it easier is always a good thing. But it also has a few things like the new S8 SIP, system in a package for the watch series now. So Series 8 has the new one, and also it has crash detection. So if you're ever in a car crash, it'll automatically call 911 if it can sense it. It apparently has like 256 G's of force detection. I don't know. I just feel like if you are in that, you're probably dead. And no one can help you, but sure, you can call the cops, that's fine. Well, another interesting thing they said is because with the Apple Watch, they have all day battery life practically. You just have to put it on the charger usually at night. But they were introducing low power mode finally for the Apple Watches. So now instead of it just dying at the end of the day, you can enable low power mode, and it disables a few features like activity tracking, exercise tracking. So that's disabled, and also always on display will be turned off, battery saving reasons. But all those things will turn off, and it'll be up to 36 hours, I think, of battery life, which is way better than before, because before it was 18, now it's 36. So that's pretty good improvement if that is actually true. I'll be excited to try it out if I ever do give myself a Series 8 in the future. Of course, we'll see. I'm pretty happy with my Series 6. I don't really feel the need to upgrade it anytime. But, if some case my Apple Watch breaks, I want a new one. We'll see. But yeah, that's all the really interesting things with the Series 8 that I can think of. But they also announced the second generation of the Apple Watch SE. Now, this one, I think it's a pretty good deal. I see a lot of people online not really liking the SE much and thinking that is pretty worthless and stuff. For me, a lot of people that I know, like my sister and my dad, have the Apple Watch, the first generation SE, and they love it. I understand it doesn't have much sensors on it at all, no ECG, no health temperature sensor, no blood oxygen sensor. It's just basically a heart rate monitor on there, which I understand is pretty annoying, but some people really don't need that stuff, and because of it, it's only $250, which is about $30 less, I think, than the outgoing model. So that's pretty cool. Or 20s, 30s, whatever. I'm not really doing the math right now. But the Apple Watch SE is just for a certain group of people who are really, really budget conscious and just don't want to spend $400 on an Apple Watch, which is totally understandable, of course. But, for people who really just don't want it and they want all those features, of course, you can go to the used market, refurbished market, and find a Apple Watch Series 6 or Series 5 and just get a way better deal anyway. So that's also an option for people. But the main watch that everyone was expecting, excited for, crazy for, is the new Apple Watch Ultra. Now, there's been many leaks and many rumors about a rugged Apple Watch since last year when the Series 7 came out. They were like, so what are they going to call this? When is it going to be releasing? So now we finally have it. It's called the Apple Watch Ultra, and it is a big boy, It is a beefy boy, if you will. It has up to 100 meters of water resistance, 49 millimeter screen, so it's huge. And also the screen's flat, which I find pretty cool because honestly, I'm a big fan of the flatter screens on devices. Whenever they were, leaking that the Apple Watch Series 7 was going to be all flat edges, that made me excited. But when I saw it was rounded edges, I was a little disappointed. But it's fine because it still looked good. The screen was bigger and all that, so it was fine with me. But it also has an action button on the opposite side of where the digital crown is and the side button is, and that action button's customizable to a bunch of different things like workout customization. You can mark your compass waypoints and also start a diving activity. It's just really it's nice to have, of course, especially if you're out and about, you don't want to like finagle with the screen. You can just press that side button over there and it starts off your workouts automatically. So that's pretty cool. Now this watch is just mainly for people who are really athletic and go out and do athletic stuff like triathlons, hiking, like not even like hiking, but like people who like climb, terrains and stuff like that, and they just really want something that's super durable but also incredibly helpful. And this is what this is for, And also if you're out and about and you feel like you're lost, it's included with this is an 82 decibel alarm. So 82 decibels is really loud. In fact, it's louder than what your ears should really be hearing. But the fact that it can, go that loudly, and it has like a unique pattern so people can like hear it, understand it, and want to go towards it and say, hey, what's happening, And the battery life on this thing is crazy. Just regular battery life is 36 hours. Like just regular, with nothing turned on. But with low power mode turned on, it goes all the way up to 60 hours, which is ridiculous. I mean, I know it's not ridiculous for some smartwatches where they last pretty much all day, every day for like 5 days in a row. I understand that, but also they're not the Apple Watch, and Apple Watch is just a lot better than those watches. Don't come at me. It's just the truth. But yeah, the fact that it can last that long, and people have been asking for just a longer lasting Apple Watch in the first place for a while now. It's nice to see that Apple's making ways so that can happen. So that's pretty cool. And also the new Apple Watch Ultra has a dive computer built into it for, divers, and they need to track, water temperatures, water pressure, all that good stuff. It's there, and this little thing on your wrist can count that kind of stuff, which is kind of mind-blowing to think about. The fact that Apple is just putting all this technology and innovation together in a really small form factor. Well, not really small form factor, but on your wrist, it's pretty cool. I know I'm saying the word cool a lot today, but it is what it is. Well, I want to get into the pricing of the Apple Watches. So the Series 8 starts at $399 for the base model with GPS, $499 for the one with cellular. So that's $400 and $500 respectively. So still the same price as other ones, still a little bit pricey, but they're good products. I'm not really too mad about the prices. The Apple Watch SE, like I said before, is $250. But the kicker is that the Apple Watch Ultra is $800. So it's about the same price of an iPhone 14. Which is kind of crazy to think about that, when a smartwatch is $800 and it's just a beast of a watch, So, I mean, I know people can really benefit from it. Personally, I don't need it, so I'm not even going to try to buy it. Plus, my wife would kill me if I did, so there's that. But still, I mean, it looks cool, and people are going to love it. So I'm sure it's worth, the price is right, because it has a bunch of new technologies in it. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think about those the Apple Watches that Apple just announced. So Apple also announced the next generation of Airpods Pro. Now, personally, I loved my Airpods Pro when I had them. They were one of my favorite, wireless earbuds ever because of the active noise canceling and especially the transparency mode. I don't know if people give it enough credit, but the transparency mode on the AirPods Pro are like second to none, maybe to the AirPods Max, just, because the AirPods Max are just the best at it. But still, no other headphone, no other earbud I've tried has good enough transparency mode for me. Because right now I have the Beats Studio Buds that I use every day. The reason I don't have my AirPods now is because I lost them at a Halloween thing at my church. So it kind of got lost. It was in my pocket, and then it fell in my pocket. But one of the church members actually found them and gave them to me, but they were like all waterlogged, so they're unusable at the moment. But so I bought new earbuds, and I didn't want to spend all that much money again for AirPods Pro, so I got the Beats Studio Buds, mainly because I like bassy music, so I got those, and of course they're better for bass. But still, yeah, they claim to have transparency mode and noise canceling, but it's just really not good. It's just really muffled, and I don't know, it's just pretty terrible. I'm excited for this new second generation for AirPods Pro, mainly because first ones were so great, and they're really just, enhancing all the features in these, including a new chip. They have the H2 chip now, so in the past they've just been using the H1 for a lot of their Apple products recently, like the AirPods Pro, Power Beats Pro, second gen AirPods, 3rd gen AirPods, you know, all those products, and also the Beats Fit Pro. They all have that H1 chip in there. But finally, we have a 2nd generation of the chip, and we're gonna see, you know, how much better it is compared to the first one. But they're just saying it's a lot faster. It also delivers more, you know, better bass, clearer notes, all that, you know, all that fun Apple stuff. So we'll have to test it in the real world to actually see that, but I am confident in it. One thing I found pretty interesting about them is that they have the U1 chip in them now. That was my main complaint when I lost my last AirPods, is that it had like the directional finding, which sucked. And I mean, it just didn't actually let you find them. It was just like a general area, you know. That's not what I need in order to find my AirPods. So now the AirPods Pro actually have the U1 chip inside them. So if you lose them, just like your AirTags, you can pull up the Find My app and you can find them that way. And it's honestly, you know, really cool. But still, like, it's honestly really helpful because, you know, people lose their AirPods all the time. So having the U1 chip in there and having a U1, you know, chip equipped iPhone, it's just really seamless, and it's honestly pretty exciting for me because if I ever get these, I just feel more secure that, you know, if I lose them, I can still find them again. So good on you, Apple. But another change they had was with the stems. So the stems have a force touch stems for play, pause, and all that. But now they're adding a capacitive sensor to it. So if you are there and you slide it down and then slide it up, it'll change the volume. So that's pretty cool. I mean, people have been asking that for a while. So actually being able to do that is nice. I find that since I already have my Apple Watch on most of the time, I just, you know, turn the volume with the digital crown, or just go to my iPhone, turn the volume up. But for some people just don't have those things, which I understand that. So having it on the device is still nice. So they're saying with the new H2 chip, they have, you know, 2 times the active noise canceling and 2 times the transparency mode. And they have a thing where they have adaptive transparency mode, I think is what they call it. So basically, if there's something really loud, annoying, like sound going on while in transparency mode, they'll mute that part, but let everything else in, if that makes any sense. So I want to try it myself, because what they had like a jack drill, you know, in the video, and they were just like had this one guy jack drilling, and they had the feature on, and it sounded pretty good. But of course, that's Apple, it's controlled, so we'll see how it actually works in the real world. But, you know, I trust them when it comes to this stuff because the last AirPods Pro were really good at what they did with transparency and active noise canceling. So I'm just overall excited for it. Another thing they added was an extra ear tip size. So instead of from small, medium, and large, there's now extra small, small, medium, and large. So they added the extra small tip to it for people who have like really tiny, you know, ear canal holes. So more people can enjoy the product, which is always good. And with the case, they actually added a loop hole to it, so you can like have like a wrist loop to it, and you can like never lose it, I guess. But it's also, there's a speaker on the case itself, so if you need to use Find My and you want to play a sound from it, you can play a sound from the case too. Because, you know, obviously if the AirPods are in the case, they can't really play the sound. So actually having it on the case itself is a really good idea, and it seems to be, you know, it seems to work just good. But the last thing that they added was personalized spatial audio. Now with spatial audio, it was really cool for me, like in movies, because, you know, they have all the surround sound support. So when you're actually listening to it, it just sounds like things are just passing by you in real time. I mean, sometimes I'm like double taking, like, whoa, what was that? You know? So with this feature, it uses the true depth sensor on the Pro models of the iPhone, and you just scan the side of your ears, your side of your face, and it just puts a depth map all around this area. So when you put your AirPods in, it just knows, you know, the depth and the shape of your ears, so it can just computationally, you know, set a spatial audio profile for you, if that makes any sense. So it's a pretty neat idea. I mean, I really want these, if you can't tell, but if I do get them, I'll try everything out for you guys. Just let me know in the comments if you want to see me try them out. But also let me know down there what you think about the 2nd generation of AirPods Pro. Alright, time to get to the iPhones. So the first thing they announced was the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Plus. Now, I haven't heard the word plus in terms of an iPhone since the iPhone 8 Plus. So it's honestly kind of nostalgic bringing it back. I appreciate it. I love the plus naming. So it's actually back now. So the iPhone 14 has a 6.1 inch OLED screen, and the iPhone Plus has a 6.7 inch OLED screen. Practically, it's just the same size screen as the Pro Max is now. But, you know, actually having just the base model iPhone, but really big instead of being mini, I think is really cool. Now, the mini will always have a soft spot in my heart because I like little phones too, you know, and I have really big hands, so using little phones is kind of comical, but it's really cute and I like it. But it's kind of sad to see him go. You know, ideally, I would love to have, you know, iPhone 14 mini, iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Plus, but I know that's already 3 phones in a lineup, and some people might say it's too much, so it is what it is. But you know, Samsung releases like 55,000 phones a year, different ones, so why can't Apple? But no, I'm just kidding, because if Apple actually did that, it'd be a mess. Anyway, besides that, let's go over the features really quickly. That was new. So in terms of camera, there's a new 12 megapixel main camera, a new 12 megapixel front camera. The front camera finally has autofocus, which I never really cared to actually look at every time I take a selfie photo, but now it has autofocus, so cool. But with the new cameras, they have a new Photonic Engine now, so basically it's just their pipeline that they're updated, so it's 2 times better low light performance, 2 times better night mode performance. So low light photography, especially on all iPhone models, this generation is going to look just a lot better. And they're saying that right now the iPhone 14 Plus has the best battery life of any iPhone that they've ever made, because the main reason is probably going to be because, you know, they're still not ProMotion. They're still all 60 hertz screens, which is a little sad, but I get it. It's Apple. They don't like to bring their Pro features down to the base, even though other Android phones at way cheaper prices have OLED screens at 120 hertz. But hey, who am I to say, you know? But they also have the biggest battery cell in the iPhone 14 Plus, so that thing is probably going to be a battery champ, because last year the iPhone 13 Pro Max was, and it had a 120 hertz screen. It was super powerful, and you know, it was awesome. So I'm excited to see the actual battery life and how long this thing is going to last, because Apple and battery, especially with their optimizations, is just a whole nother level. So I'm excited to see that too. Now, another major thing, a couple major things, is for connectivity wise, they removed the SIM card trays in all iPhones in the United States. So the only way you can, you know, get access to your network now is through eSIM. Now, eSIM is baked into your phones already, and I'm pretty sure it's compatible with like whatever, you know, network provider you have. And you can easily transfer SIMs from one phone to another without even, you know, taking the physical SIM out and then putting a new physical SIM in. It's just a little weird because there are still plans out there in the world, you know, like prepaid. Like I know AT&T prepaid has just physical SIM only, and you have to plop it in, use any phone you want, that kind of deal. So there's a lot of phone companies like that in this nation that still support that. So my only concern with it is just that some people in the United States might not be able to access those phones. I mean, I know most of the major, you know, United States carriers support eSIM, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But some of the smaller ones don't yet. So some people might, unless the carriers are now going to support it fully now, it's just going to be a little concerning for those. But I feel like since, you know, carriers and Apples are kind of like the best buds nowadays, they're going to ramp that up really quickly. So it might not be the biggest issue in the world, it's just slightly concerning. But another one that they added was the emergency SOS satellite connectivity. So basically what they've done here is they added satellite connectivity and the antennas themselves, and the only way you can really connect to them, and this is for emergency only, like the bandwidth is incredibly low for satellite apparently, so it can only send a few text messages, and it'll take like multiple, like 30 seconds to like 2 minutes to send, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, I can see if you're in a really emergency situation where you're extremely lost, no cell service, no Wi-Fi, nothing like that, that would be incredibly helpful. So basically how they're doing it is that you have the iPhone pointed towards a clear spot in the sky, and then it'll show you where the satellite is, and you just need to move your iPhone around until you finally have that link, and then you tap messages, type in your thing really quickly, and then hit send, and then it'll send it, which is great, of course. More ways to help people who are lost is always a good thing. But with this new iPhone 14, they're keeping the A15 Bionic in it, which is, I understand the A15 Bionic is still incredibly powerful. It's awesome. It's still better than the latest Snapdragon chip, of course. But it's just a little weird because usually Apple puts in the same chip as the Pro models into the base model too. And they're not doing it this year. I don't know if it's for cost reasons. I mean, I doubt it. They make them themselves, but I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a little weird, and they kind of try to treat it like it was a new thing, even though you literally put it in your phones last year. It's not new at all, but, whatever, it's fine. So, I mean, well, I can't really be too mad because still it's an incredibly powerful chip, and it won't be, obsolete in a very, very long time. It's always just nice to have the newest thing, especially in the base model like you've been doing forever. I mean, you did it for the SE too, so, but still, I mean, it's fine. I'm pretty sure most people won't even notice, especially the mass market, so it's not that big a deal, I guess. But the prices for the iPhone 14 models, the base ones, is $899 for the big boy, the 14 Plus, and $799 for the regular iPhone 14. So the 14 is the same price as last year, but of course the new Plus will be $100 more. So I think they're not priced terribly. There's just one thing I wish they had was just ProMotion, and I know that would probably kind of take away from the Pro phones a little bit, but who cares? More people need to know about ProMotion. Look at it, feel it, use it. It's great. It's wonderful. All right, next I want to talk about the Pro model iPhones that Apple announced at their event yesterday. One thing that everyone has their mind on, everyone has their attention on, is the new Dynamic Island. So we in the Apple and the tech community on Twitter have been speculating about this for probably years now. Well, especially the past year. So, Apple has had the notch for their phones for such a long time. They're keeping the notch with the base model 14s right now. But for the Pro models this year, they're changing it up a bit. Instead of having a full notch, we're having a pill cutout. So basically where the ambient sensors are, and the Face ID sensors and the camera, it's all cut out now. So like the camera hole punch out. So with the Androids, it's kind of that thing but way bigger because it has a lot more sensors. But instead of just doing that, calling it a day, Apple decided to do something pretty clever, in my opinion at least. And they're doing a thing where it's called the Dynamic Island. And basically it's just a bunch of software features surrounding that pill and that camera. So for an example, use case for it is it has live tiles, pill notifications. So usually when you change your ringer or you have AirPods, something like a notification would pop down below the notch usually. Well, in this case, it's like a black bar completely surrounding it. So if you connect your AirPods, it'll tell you up there when your AirPods are connected how much battery's on there. If you're using Face ID, instead of it taking a gray box in the middle like it usually does, it'll be up there now, so you can pay attention to that Face ID sensor up there. And also if you're playing music, you're in the music app and then you go home, the live tile will be up there and it'll show the album art and it playing, and you can long press on it or just press on it and it'll go to the app. But if you long press on it, it'll give you all the music controls like play, pause, next, all that good stuff. So it's honestly a really, really clever and helpful feature they added. So instead of fully okay, here's a pill, bye, we'll go on next, they actually decided to introduce a software feature and gimmick around the pill and fully embrace it. So honestly, I think that's the best thing they could have done, and it works and looks great. So I'm pretty satisfied with what they did there. Let's talk about the cameras really quick. So as I said before, with the regular Pros, they have the new regular base model 14. They have the new Photonic Engine pipeline now. So that's also applied here, of course, and it has the new A16 Bionic chip. But now the camera sensor itself, we're getting a megapixel upgrade since the iPhone 6s. So instead of being 12 like it has been since then, now it's a full 48 megapixel camera, which is great because that's what we've been needing for the iPhone for a while, because, you know, Samsung has their 108 megapixel cameras. You know, Google has their like 50 plus megapixel cameras, 48 megapixel cameras, whatever they have. So it's about time Apple really increased the megapixel size, and they finally did. So it's 48 megapixels, and you can, for if it's like a regular photo, it'll be binned down to 12 megapixels. But with, you know, with that, you get the better low light of a larger sensor, and, you know, more quality, more detail. But, you know, I just had a 12 megapixel size. But one thing I was worried about if they ever did increase the megapixel size was if they, you know, would have just said, well, you can only just take a regular photo and it'll be binned to 12 megapixels and you can't take a full 48, you know, blah, blah, blah. We're Apple, we limit your accessibility. But no, actually with Apple Pro Raw, you can take a full 48 megapixel camera, like image if you want. So it's really nice to have that feature. So that's awesome. But they are introducing a new 2x option, and some people might think 2x, are they downgrading from 3x from last year? No, what they're doing here is just at the very center of that 48 megapixel camera, they're cropping into the 12 megapixel area there and basically optically cropping in. So you're not losing any information. It's not digital zoom at all. So it's practically just a regular telephoto, but, you know, at 2x, but instead of it being an actual telephoto, it's the main sensor just cropped in, and it honestly doesn't look bad at all. So that's good. But there is still that telephoto with 3x zoom and, of course, digital zoom. More than that, but, you know, the telephoto cameras on iPhones are kind of lame. You know, it's still 12 megapixels, and it's still 12 megapixels for the ultra wide. So not major upgrades there, but with the Photonic Engine, the low light performance is 2 times better on the ultra wide and telephoto, and 2.5 times better on the main sensor. And it also, of course, gets that new 12 megapixel front camera with autofocus, all that good stuff. So the camera upgrades this year are pretty significant, of course, like they usually are every year. But yeah, I'm pretty thankful that we now have 48 megapixels, and I'm excited to see what the image quality is gonna be like and how big of a difference it's gonna make. So let's talk about the always on display feature really quickly. So with the new Pro models, they finally added, so we can actually, you know, put our phones down on the desk, take a quick glance at it, you know, just like our Apple Watches, and actually tell the time, look at our widgets on this lock screen that we have, you know, see what's going on there, and also just see our wallpaper, because with the new lock screen from iOS 16, everything just looks way better. You know, I really love the lock screen on iOS 16 right now. But it also, you know, like always on displays on the Apple Watch. With the Apple Watch, what they do is they just basically, so if you have like a photo Apple Watch face, it just dims down the screen, but you can still see the colors and you can still see like the picture itself. That's kind of what they're doing here, except it's just better, of course. You know, it's a bigger screen, better screen, all that good stuff. And basically how they're achieving this is now they have LTPO displays that go all the way down to 1 Hz, so it doesn't, you know, drain so much battery, but you can still look at it. And also it has the new A16 Bionic chip in it, like I mentioned before. And of course, you know, like as I say, it's like extremely power efficient, so you don't have to worry about it. Which, I mean, I'll trust them. Apple chips are really power efficient, you know. I mean, I have this M1 Pro over here on a Mac, and it's incredibly power efficient for a not desktop, but like a laptop. So, you know, I'll believe them, you know. But of course, it has all the safety features of the iPhone 14. It has that, you know, SOS emergency satellite connectivity, like messaging and stuff. And it also has crash detection. So if you're ever in a crash, it'll automatically call a 911 services for you, and then help will be sent along the way for you. So it's always really nice to just have all those safety features added onto it. And also cinematic mode got a bit of an upgrade too. So instead of, you know, beforehand, I think it was like 1080p at 30 FPS, which, yikes. Now it's at 4K 30 or 24 frames per second, which I find will be a lot more useful. And honestly, what the demos they pulled off with cinematic mode actually looks pretty decent and pretty good. So if they can actually pull this off and have basically portrait video, that would be wonderful. And with the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Pro, they're having like a new mode. It's called action mode. And basically what it does, it just, you know, smooth out the shaky cam, you know, of you running, and it just really like just smooths it out, and it almost looks incredibly stable, like you're on a gimbal. So that'd be really nice to try out for, you know, just running down the street, and, you know, you can take those running videos that look really cool. So that's a really nice feature that they added too. But yeah, that's all the important stuff Apple announced at the Apple event yesterday. I thought it was pretty good. I feel like the Apple Watch stuff just really overtook it, and it was kind of like, okay, cool, whatever, Apple Watch. But the Apple Watch Ultra was pretty cool. Definitely excited about the AirPods, and definitely excited for the 14 Pro phones. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can go ahead and give it a dislike if you want. I won't be too offended. Leave a comment in the comments below. Leave a comment below if you have any criticisms or any suggestions for me. I'll gladly take them, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.